Hello everyone and welcome back to the Brightworks. Today taking a look at 8 horses. Very fun map. I love this one just for basically all of the same reasons that I love Supreme Straits, because we get to see a whole host of a bunch of different strategies come out here. You can see this is sort of a fusion of the concepts behind Bismuth Valley and Supreme Straits. We have the spread of different playstyles available here. You can see the big flat terrains encourage a lot of vehicle play, and then there's these kind of waterways that encourage bot play and maybe hovercraft play. Of course, the big river here, encouraging naval play, necessitating naval play. And I think usually this map brings out some really interesting strategies, so I'm super excited to take a look at it today. So let's meet our competing teams here, starting on the western side. Our red team, red leader, Cloud. Cloud up at 30 true skill, which is really impressive. That's right on the lower lip of what I would consider to be the pro levels. You're really getting up there once you hit 30 true skill, so definitely expecting to see some really good plays out of him. I do notice that Dujavi is also 30 true skill, so these two players are going to be really strong and starting in similar positions, so this bottom lane better be prepared. Spawning on the eastern side, our blue team leader, Lovebot. What an excellent name. I mean, wow, does it really take much more than that? The Lovebot, spawning here with this brilliant Cortex commander, ready to bring the pain and all the game. Going to be representing with 35 true skill to their name. Definitely going to be a very high skill player. Now, of course, you know me and you know I love my Navy plays, so let's meet those players as well. We have the Admiral, suiting name for a Navy player. Sounds absolutely like somebody who should be in charge of a large fleet of ships going to conquer the enemy. Very nice. Can't wait to see what Hot Pink brings out for us today here. And DJ BDO3. Digibido? Digiboy? DJ Bo? Maybe it's DJ Bowie? DJ Bo? Something like that. Anyway, our green player going for a Navy lab, as could be expected out of the Navy players here. Now I'm a little bit curious about what we are going to go for in terms of the middle of this map. I already see Dujavi going for a vehicle lab, which I think I quite like. The bot lab as well. Let's see who gets the first unit out here. Take a look at the big scale. Looks like Cloud has the first unit out, but they're not moving across. You know, Cloud might have won the award here, but I can't really award that award without seeing the unit go across. It's kind of in the wrong spirit of things here. Come on, I know somebody else can get something out. Okay, Cloud takes it by sending out the text. You had me on edge there, Cloud. I wasn't quite sure. Wasn't sure whether you were going to be able to win that award, but congratulations to our red leader here for getting the very first units out and about on the field. Very nicely done. Angriff 8 here, the orange player. Excuse me, going to be in a very important position here, because you do have this geothermal plant accessible to you. You have all of these metal spots, and you have this nice little metal cache down here, I guess. This little reservoir of metal in the water. So I think vehicles is a really good idea, because you can make that amphibious construction vehicle, and you'll be able to build in the water there. Very nicely done. This is, of course, also a really tight choke point, so those vehicles tend to perform very well. Lining up against him, we have Strip. Let's just assume that that's a cut of some sort of fabric, a thin, long strip. And we'll read nothing more into that name here. Going to be contesting with the vehicle plant of their own, which is very nice to see. Do love that. A Resbot here is spotted and gets brought down by the ticks. That's a nice little pick. Those are pretty expensive to pump out, especially expensive in energy, which it really does slow down the economy if you have to build a second one of those. Like, unfortunately, Vikoj will have to do. Vico.js. According to my American accent, I should just produce everything as literally as possible, and maybe that's just the safest bet. We see already some dolphins out on the field for the Hot Pink Navy player here. We got a Hot Pink Navy, and I'm happy to see it. Rovers coming across. Yeah, we're getting right into a nice and aggressive early game here. I love to see it. We have some counter dolphins here from green. Looks like we've actually got a second one, and the first one has already made contact, engaging in a little bit of ship to ship. Wow, look at that perfect trade. Might have to clip that. That was really funny. Both dolphins trading perfectly. You don't see that every time. Sometimes those units can get 1 or 2 hits off before the enemy can, and you can win that fight. But in this case, not so. Very, very nice. Holding those ships, getting any metal advantage you can is going to be absolutely critical here to the Admiral's success. So I think I really like that early trade very, very much. I hear gunfire, and indeed, there are some ticks. The fast menace, the fast and the furious, here to devastate the back lines. Ooh, they get caught by a couple of grunts, though. Grunts and pawns working together in a rare show of companionship, a rare display of teamwork to bring down the tick menace, and indeed that backline will be repaired very shortly. Vico here. We're turtling up a little bit further back than I really ideally would like to see. I think we need to at least contest half the field, if not all the way up to the enemy's metal extractor. I don't think these pawns are really going to be able to threaten you here, so I think this might be a little bit too much, a little bit too far back. Similarly here, Angriff. Oh, wait a minute. Oh yeah, no, okay, so Angry, I was checking to see who was contesting Angriff. I thought it might have been Vico for a second, but no, Strip is going to be up against the orange player here. The light blue versus the orange. And you can see there's already some blitzes that have pushed through here. And I absolutely love these run-bys. I think these early game run-bys are absolutely key to success. Making sure that you can reclaim all of this would also be really important. And especially getting these metal extractors is wonderful. Now, the blitzes are encountered by a whole host of pawns, tons and tons of them, and so I think indeed these blitzes will go down eventually, not managing to get very much value for their metal cost, and so unfortunately for the orange player, I think that's a great little advantage for Vico. Will probably be the one to reclaim that. We see Cloud's forces continuing to harass these units, which is really, really nice. We have a Rocketeer that's been badly scuffed up by these pawns who have been running around and damaging them. The pawns making sure to destroy any of these metal extractors they can find back here. Really, really nicely done. Just milk out as much of an advantage from every single possible point that you can, and you're going to be in a really nice spot here. Now, Lovebot has a whole bunch of grunts moving through here, and this is actually really dangerous. They have completely broken through this light pink front line. It looks like Pips and DMT fried beans. Wow, that's a taste beyond reason, if I've ever seen one. Yeah, it looks like they accidentally left this gate wide open, and a whole bunch of these grunts have actually pushed through. There's a few going back towards Pips's back line. There's a few moving up north here to harass Attila the Honeys. And things are suddenly not looking stupendous here for the red team. Blue doing a phenomenal job of getting that early game aggression out and about. Some incisors brought out here, the light tank of the Cortex faction, in order to deal with a little bit of this early push coming out by Angriff, but Angriff has already secured over half of the mexes here, so they're going to be in a very phenomenal spot. All they have to do is hold the line. Eventually they'll be able to tech with their metal advantage and some reclaim, and things are going to look very good for them, so we'll have to see how that goes. Up north, taking a look at the Navy here, we can see it's mostly Dolphins, accompanied by a single heavy laser turret. And we're actually mirroring that, so DJ Bo over here is going for Dolphins as well. There's a few submarines for fire support, I suppose, which I think I like quite a lot. Yeah, we're doing mainly just Dolphins here. Mainly can't get my syllables out in time here. A single destroyer has been produced though, so that's quite nice. That can be used, of course, as a siege weapon. So indeed, we are actually going to move this within siege range of the purple commander here to try and do a little bit of damage. Wow, those guns do quite a lot, actually. Looks like 7% on the hit to a commander, which is quite nice. Would not mind seeing this destroyer being a very early harassment on some of these light laser turrets here, which Goggins is doing a phenomenal job of. Goggins, the American psycho, the crazy guy. He's I don't know. I keep seeing him popping up all over the place here and there. Apparently some athlete guy, old Navy SEAL or something. Go look it up if you're interested. I don't feel like explaining that whole lore. It's too complicated. But Blue is doing a phenomenal job of holding this middle ground. Let's take a look at these metal extractor values, shall we? Okay, it's 2 for those ones. Or what about these? Okay, so these are all 2 metal per. So it's more important to claim the area than it is to claim individual metal extractors. But I think for exactly that reason, I really like this a whole lot more. Fried Beans over here going for the wall-off. I mean, it's nice. The wall-off is good. It is gonna prevent these pawns and grunts from pushing in a nice formation. But the commander is moving extremely far forward here. I'm actually surprised these grunts didn't jump on top of that commander. I think we definitely could have if we wanted to. Blitz is moving in from the side here, starting to burn down some of these light laser turrets that were left in the way. And they're approaching from a very nice angle that limits the amount of fire that can actually come out here from the other defenses and the units as well, forcing them all to respond by moving out of position here. But that's not to discount all of these thugs that were still left on the front lines to defend. Bearded Coder, of course, also pushing in, making sure to posture correctly so that they cannot be caved in here. And Cloud going for that vehicle lab start that we've been seeing more and more. Yeah, I really like the position here. This is quickly becoming the new meta. Is one bot lab and then you go for a vehicle lab on the front lines, and then that just idly pumps out units while your commander holds the front with reclaim, resurrection, and well, not resurrection, but reclaim and rebuilding, repairing. That's the word. So yeah, I think I like that quite a bit. We do have a gauntlet up and about now, and that is laying down the DACA here, putting down fire into a lot of these units. Incisors go up in smoke. A lot of damage on this commander, actually, down to 64% for strip. So the red hold is looking pretty good down here on the southern side. A lot more shaky here in the northern half, though, or I guess I suppose I should say the middle half here. Silver Soul and Lovebot both doing a phenomenal job of contesting this middle ground. And yeah, unfortunately, Fried Beans and Pips are both going to have a really tough time breaking into this because short of some artillery up on this hill, maybe, we do have a gauntlet planned here. Yeah, I think it's rare that I suggest the gauntlet because it can easily be a metal dump that does not pay for itself. But I think specifically on these high grounds right here, that would be really hard for the enemy to siege, and it gives you a nice little radius. In fact, let's take a look right now. If we were to plop a gauntlet down, yeah, you can see that, I mean, it covers everything right there. You can get all the way to the static defense and even deny a metal extractor on the enemy side. So I think I really would like to see a gauntlet come up right there. That might be a really, really key position. We do have a queued, of course, so that's very nicely done by DMT. Or Fried Beans, I should say. We're officially at 1,000 subs, everyone. Woohoo! Time to celebrate. It also means I gotta watch my tongue. Don't want the YouTube gods to immediately turn around and smite my channel down. Attila the Honey's here moving in with the commander trying to do some damage to this T1. Wow, look at all those rockets fired. Very lucky those rockets weren't targeting the commander. I think if they had, that commander would be toast. But anyways, trying to move in to deal some damage to these vehicles, but it's really, really hard to do. Every time those Januses fire, a whole bunch of your units go down. That's a nice D-gun. Oh, rockets are landing though. 14%. Commander cannot be risked. If it blows up, all of these units right here are going to blow up as well, and that would be a huge pain. Stalemate here, as far as the ocean is concerned. We have a lot of destroyers out for the Hot Pink player here, so I think I like their position quite a bit more. Yeah, we've got mostly dolphins with 2 submarines, so at least we have that underwater firepower to contend with the enemy dolphins, but we definitely don't have anywhere near enough to deal with 3 destroyers. I think Hot Pink could even be a little bit more aggressive here. But we are going for a tech switch, and that's why we're posturing rather than committing to a push. Very, very nicely done. We're going to be switching into seaplanes. Very metal expensive, which is why this is going to take a while to come up. But we have the energy converters rather in the meantime to burn off that extra energy and turn it all into usable metal. Very nicely done by the Admiral. I like to see that. The quote-unquote backline here is looking a little shabby, though. O Prime, do you have a... Oh, okay. O Prime is playing up here. A bit interesting. I expected them to actually be playing hovercraft or something over here. I wasn't paying quite enough attention. Wow, actually sniping Goggins Commander. That could be really, really huge here. Ooh, looks like the Commander will get away with just 16% health. That was really close there. These aggravators, well, being aggravating. Forcing the retreat here, or at least the backing off of the purple players. I guess that would be a retreat, wouldn't it? Anyway, making sure that this position is not as firmly held as it once was, which is quite nice. But of course, the blue player here now pushes in, realizes that he needs to support his teammate, and at the very least posture so that they cannot be pushed in. Those Januses getting tremendous value. Wow, look at that. The aggravator who could. Absolutely phenomenal. Now I have to acknowledge this pathway to success for both teams. This is just wide open. I suppose we have a beamer here, which is quite nice, and a light laser turret here. The beamer's in a slightly better position overall. But yeah, not really enough to counter any sort of mounted large-scale push here. So that would be nice if we could see somebody taking advantage of that. Attila the Honeys does go down to a bunch of Janus shots that were fired. Just barely caught that one in the nick of time. And the Janisses do manage to sweep over the commander's body. We have the construction bots up here. So that is quite nice. They're going to indeed get to work eating up that commander ASAP. While these Janisses and the... Oh, they've actually changed tactics here. We're going to be eating everything but the commander. But yeah, look at these Janisses. Some of these 3 mark Janisses here. I'm not sure what that's... I guess it's a chevron. 3 chevron Janisses. They've been laying down the pain. And yeah, that does mean that Attila the Honeys is going to have to retreat here. Attila the Honeys did go for tech, so we are going to see these T2 units out on the field eventually, which is quite nice. I mean, that explains why the unit count was so low in the first place here. O Prime also teching up. I just saw it in the back line here. Indeed, we have a T2 lab coming up, but we do have a T1 lab on the front line, so I would really like to see this reclaimed at one point. I think that'd be quite nice. The other thing is we can also eat up these T1 solar panels. Always be careful of that. These are only 2, so I don't hate that so much. Probably just from the early game. Not too bad, but always keep that in the back of your mind. That's a nice way to make a little bit of money. We do have the tsunamis coming out here. We have a Horizon on the track and some tsunamis to accompany it. Really, really nicely done. We've got the Scout, we've got the Bombers, and I think the Admiral is in quite a nice position here. Opposite to him, DJ Bo going for more submarines, more economy, more. It's the American way. Very nicely done, DJ Bo. Really making a good representation of us all. A lot of submarines are actually out here now, so I think I am slowly liking the position here for DJ Bo a little bit more. If we take a look, his total submarine count is up to 11 at this point. Now, we do have quite a few destroyers here. As well as the torpedo launchers, so that's quite nice. These heavy laser turrets are going to do phenomenal work against the Dolphins that remain here for DJ Bo, but certainly the laser turrets will be essentially worthless against the submarines. We're removing our posturing. I suppose it's because the destroyers here can shell away at our defenses, and we don't want to risk any units. If there's a time to attack, I think it's now, DJ Bo. You might have to go in there quickly. The advantage here that was once swinging rapidly in the direction of Nerdy Zen has suddenly been pushed back by a bunch of fiends that have come out. You can see a lot of wrecked Janisses, surely by the hand of a bunch of these fiends. Super, super powerful, even against the vehicles. Really, really well done. Looks like the commander was mopped up in time, though. So Nerdy Zen is going to have a nice little economy boost. Are we going up to T2? We have received a T2 constructor, so we do have the necessary equipment to go for that T2 economy. We do not have the T2 lab out, though. Let's take a look down south. Looks like Angriff has basically just been holding the line. That's basically what we expected to see. And I think that's basically all he has to do. That's 3-1, ladies and gentlemen. If that doesn't earn me a subscription. A subscribe from you lovely folk behind this screen. I don't know what does. We do have the radar jammer out here, though, so we can't fire off of radar pings. We're basically just firing off of line of sight. Yeah, I think we need to address this actually rapidly growing army here. Gauntlet is getting its work done. I would say that at 13 kills, it's probably earned its pay here. It's paid for itself, so to speak. So I think I like this Gauntlet a whole lot more. I'm a lot more skeptical of Gauntlets. I feel like they have to prove themselves a whole lot more than than the what's the other one called? The Agitators do. This Gauntlet down here, also proving my point. There's actually 2 of them. This one's a little bit blocked off by this laser turret. I'd love to see that eaten up because it is actually getting in the way here. But yeah, these Gauntlets are doing good work to actually shell down upon these units and keep these static defenses torn down. We can even see these metal extractors going down here and there, and the Sheldons are even under siege. Sheldon's not super affected by these Gauntlets, but it's a damage over time thing. So here and there, they are eventually going to get value. Wow, big naval collision here, and it looks like the defenses of the hot pink player managed to triumph over the aggression by the green player. I think it definitely, without any resurrection subs or any other way to reclaim a lot of the metal that was lost here, DJ Bo is going to be in quite a lot of trouble. Now we could high level strat here, but we could move the commander in, park it right underneath all of this, and detonate, giving us a free line of access all the way back to the pink player's base. The bombers are out though, and it looks like I missed it, but they bombed DJ Bo all the way back to the Stone Age. The lab is down, the energy is down, everything is down. Tsunami planes are ravaging this part of the map. We don't have any scouts anymore. It looks like those must have been shot down as well, so we are bombing blind at this point. It's fine if you're bombing blind because your scout got shot. Oh, there is actually 2 scouts here. I take it back. We do have the vision. We got the vision. Yep, it's time to move these in into another location here. Find some more effective targets. That'll do it. Got a lot of tidal generators here, producing 23 energy. Extremely efficient on this map. And I absolutely love seeing those being brought down here. We could also target this fusion reactor. This fusion reactor up here too. We've got a lot of energy converters. Those are always a viable target for bombing. A lot of advanced solar panels clustered together really, really tightly here. Oh, this is unfortunate. I doubt Goggins realizes this. These construction turrets are locked onto this constructor, which is actually not building anything. Goggins probably wondering why the unit queue is taking so long. Yeah, it's definitely going to be because of those build turrets that are just watching as the units sweep through. That being said, there is quite a lot of units pushing forward here. We have a big contingent of Sheldons and aggravators, but there's no radar bots to accompany these, so they are firing at their minimum line of sight distance, because I doubt they have radar coverage out here either. Indeed, most of them will go down to a couple of Sheldons who had a much better advantageous position here with the radar, of course, and so I think that will be the end of that push. It won't be the last push, though, as we also see some Fiends pushing forward here, but these lightning turrets doing a phenomenal job of driving all of those back. Sheldons for fire support, trying to mop up as much as we can. Bulls moving forward even. We are well into the T2 stage now, and this game is heating up rapidly. Not sure why that gauntlet was AFK. Just decided not to play today. It's alright. Doesn't happen every day. Sometimes you just wake up and you're not in the mood. Wow, 3 gauntlets here. That's a lot of metal, I gotta say. 3,750 metal. And is it worth it? You can be the judge, but I don't think so. 1 gauntlet in 1 strategic position? It's probably worth it. 3 gauntlets in a less than advantageous position? I don't know. Bunch of units got jumped on top of over here. This was a nice little army that got torn down by some T1 medium tanks. Really, really nicely done here by Nerdy Zen, making exactly the right unit to counter this composition here. A lot of it was well, relatively fast moving, but it was relatively fragile, so it only took a few hits from these Januses and these tanks in order to completely decimate that force. Very well done. At this point, Hot Pink has sent these resurrection subs up to the front, and we've actually brought back 1 destroyer already, and we're working on a 2nd. I think that's a really phenomenal play here. We're going to keep pushing in on this player. Oh, looks like the green player taps out and hands over all control of all of the naval facilities here to Nerdy Zen, who's now going to be building, wow, a T3 facility already. I guess I say already like it isn't 20 minutes into the game. We definitely can expect some of that by this point, but it sure does feel early considering the economy stage of the game that we're in here. Drank a soda before this, and I'm suddenly feeling burpy. Drinking another one right now, so I do apologize. Something's got to keep this commentator's throat nice and wet as a whistle. Otherwise, these are going to turn into a very raspy cast. Can't do that voice long either. I'm going to scratch my throat up. Used to do that all the time, and my mom would get really upset at me. So you know you're going to hurt yourself if you keep doing voices all day long. I just mimic her in another voice. Never ended well, usually in timeout here. Armada Commander debris. Reduced to scrap metal. But probably the most valuable scrap metal you ever see. You can see the exact same sort of pile of scrap metal here, 102, versus this, which is 100, or 1,000, I mean, sorry. 10x as much. You can see that back and forth here as O-Prime now had the... O-Prime suddenly had the lead as his T2 units hit the field, and then the T2 units from Goggins are finally out, and now they have the field, and it just goes back and forth like that through the technology stages. But I do suppose that Nerdy Zen does have the T3 gantry up and running, so these Shiva are going to start coming out one by one. Eventually those might make a really, really big difference on the field. This is actually a really dangerous army. We've got the Januses for a sort of burst of damage here, with the Sheldons for long-range fire support and the Fiends as sort of a shock division. I think this might actually have the potential to do a lot of damage. That is, if it doesn't get blown to smithereens by a commander placed well in the way of this entire push. One comm bomb can be all it takes to turn a devastating push into a wrinkle in time. Being said, this Fiend is getting quite a lot of work done here. Blowing apart this advanced metal extractor, I think it'll die. Well, it doesn't die, but it does take quite a lot of damage here. O-Prime moving in for the D-gun. Gonna get some value out of this commander before we have to self-destruct it. I love to see that. Keep moving it forward so that when it dies, it doesn't blow up too much. Well, of your own stuff anyway. And yeah, I think it blew up enough of that army that eventually these sweeping forces here from this dark brown player are going to eventually clean up a whole lot of this mess. Friendly fiends coming out here for Attila the Honeys. Well, they were trying to clean this up, but apparently they're less interested than they thought. Deciding instead to let this fiend get a few more shots in on some economy structures. And wow, even a T2 constructor goes down here. Yeah, very nicely done. This fiend paying for itself. Well worth its money spent, right? 2 silver star fiend, and it's earned every star. It does eventually get ripped apart at a molecular level, ripped and torn to shreds, folded into the molecular matrices of another unit for the enemy team. Is there no worse death on planet Bar? I don't think so. But do fiends really deserve an honorable death? You'll have to tell me down below. But I have a feeling the answer is no. Silver Soul in a little bit of trouble here as the bulls keep pushing forward, and these units are so hard to deal with. So much health, so much damage. Ambassador launching missiles from super far away. We were trying to get a Cerberus up, which is a great idea, but it's never going to happen. Not with bulls on your front door. Oh, those Ambassador missiles, they do so much damage, and the bulls are pushing forward. Silver Soul in so much trouble. These bulls are just going to get so many hits off. The commander looking really tough. It goes down. Takes the bulls with it. But that is one commander down the drain. As now these green hounds are going to be forced to take back over this position that was lost in that bull push. Very nicely done. Expending a relatively minor amount of the army, a relatively minor group of units here. I mean, don't get me wrong. 3 bulls are very expensive. That's almost 3,000 metal. But it was only 3 units, right? It wasn't an entire army. It was just a strategic strike, so to say, and managing to get a commander for it. Now, Bearded Coder could definitely eat up that commander. I wouldn't hate to see that. Probably send some of that metal back to Silver Soul, just as like a, you know, sorry for your loss. Yeah, I wouldn't hate to see that, but Silver Soul is also very full on metal as well, so we're really not in too much of a sharing is caring kind of position here. Mostly just win the game and everyone's going to be a lot happier. Wow, so many gauntlets up this game. You guys are doing this on purpose, aren't you? The Mausers are up, which I like a whole lot more. You can see the Mausers are much more powerful than a gauntlet. They're mobile, and they can fire a whole lot quicker as well. Yeah, these Mauser tear apart that T2 army. The artillery pieces scale to the vehicle level, right? Like the artillery pieces for the bots are good enough to do a whole lot of damage to bots, whereas the artillery vehicles are good enough to do a whole lot of damage to vehicles, and I think that's a really great part of the design of Beyond All Reason. Wow, this gauntlet has been hard at work. They said, dig a hole right here, and I needed to be exactly that much AoE wide. And the gauntlet said, sir, yes, sir. Began digging immediately, and so hopefully by the end of this match, we'll have struck diamonds by the time we dig this hole out. Blues of various shades have swept through this northern region. Shiva is almost exclusively here for Nerdy Zen. Very nice, very powerful unit. Gonna be difficult to deal with here. I wouldn't mind seeing some sumos, although fiends are actually a good option because as long as you spread them out, it does mean that you're basically going to be able to surround these Shiva and get right underneath them. And of course, those Shiva are extremely prone to inflicting self-harm as they lob their AoE missile and accidentally hit themselves. Looks like one Shiva tried to pop up over here, but there was actually some naval units in place to stop that from happening. That was nicely done. Very good positioning there, but I think it's time to move the Navy in. We have the march of the construction bots. Maybe I should stop doing that and I should cut in with the actual song. But then maybe I'll get a copyright strike, and I'm trying to go as long as possible without hitting one of those, so who knows. Hounds from both teams being sure to posture in as an annoying position as possible. Almost lost track of that sentence there. I was distracted by this defensive setup down here, being harassed by some ticks pushing in. The laser turret's missing is just so funny to me. It's like a beam of light, right? It's like a laser pointer, and somehow you're missing. Just doesn't even make any sense. This is quite a lot of Shivas, though. We're looking really dangerous here. We've also got these T2 mexes upgraded, and the economy for Lovebot is looking really strong. We are up to 89 metal a second and 4,000 energy a second. Yeah, really, really nicely done. Good stuff here. We're starting up an advanced fusion. That's why we're actually low on metal, despite only producing T2 units. But I think this is great. I think this is going to give them a nice little advantage here. Looking for any inefficiencies. I mean, maybe you could eat up these windmills, but it's not really even about efficiencies at this point. It's really just a fact of, like, look how much space they take up, right? Just for anybody who's curious, you can hit E and then hit left alt. So say you selected all of your construction turrets here, you hit E and then hold left alt, and then whatever you hover over, when you left click and drag a circle, the construction towers, or anything that you're using, any builder, will eat up whatever you are holding, all of the structures of whatever type you were hovering over. So if you want to eat up all your wind turbines or your solar panels, whatever, that's a really easy way to queue all that up without having to individually, like, click, 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 click on every single one of those. Just a helpful little tip for you guys. Nerdy Zen here, pushing forward with the Shiva, using them to wipe away some of this forward static defense, which is really nice because that ultimately it doesn't allow your Tech 2 units to push through. That's not really the value that you get out of that. I mean, it is, but that's not the most important thing that happens. The most important thing that happens is it allows the lower tier units to push through. It allows grunts and ticks and pawns to all flood through areas that otherwise the static defense was more than sufficient to keep out. That's really the most important part there, and I think that's definitely a worthwhile benefit of clearing away that frontline defense. Gauntlet goes down. The chainsaws are going to be next. And this army is going to continue pushing forward. There's not really any units out here for this Dark Salmon player. Or is that the Light Salmon player? No, I guess that's the Dark Salmon. This is the Light Salmon player. Although I guess I'd be a little concerned if my salmon looked this pink. That almost looks like, I don't know, bubblegum pink or something like that. Maybe I'm analyzing this a little too harshly, though. The Navy is finally moving forward, Navy being 2 battleships, a cruiser, and a destroyer. 2 destroyers, actually, as well as a radar ship. Yeah, that's a nasty little Navy. I think that could definitely do quite a lot of work. A lot of Shiva are about to pop up on this beachhead, though, and that is going to be quite devastating. We do have a bulwark out, but just one, and I don't know if that's really going to be quite enough to deal with this entire push here. Ooh, look at this army evaporate from these Shivas. There we go. Every single one of those grouped up nice and neatly for those Shivas' incredible AoE to just wipe away from the entire face of the planet. Very nicely done here by those Shivas. Commendations to the Shivas. Very well done. Oh, the Shivas missiled themselves. Not even sure what unit caused that, but like I was saying, these Shiva are really prone to shooting at themselves. Yeah, it just happens all the time. Ah, we have an Epoch out on the field. Very nice. This capital ship is going to be really, really painful for these Shiva. Now, one thing they can always do, of course, is dive back into the water. They're amphibious, so they can walk along that sea floor very nicely. And I wouldn't mind seeing that one bit. We could even walk them all the way down to the end of this base, pop them out around here, and start sieging that facility. Would be really powerful here. The dreadnoughts, the battleships here, have been pushing forward as well, which is quite nice. Making sure that these reinforcing Shiva are not getting much work done. And the south still stagnates. 2 of these pulsars, the Tachyon accelerators, what an epic name. They're built up here on the front line in order to keep these units held back. We do have a long-range plasma cannon that appears to be laying down siege to these units, but little does it know that there is actually an army of repair turrets here to keep these pulsars looking nice and fresh and squeaky clean. Orange is having troubles here. Strip is causing definitely quite a lot of pain, not budging an inch really, and huge commendations to that because for how long the metal advantage was in the orange player's favor, they have not managed to push through the southern flank. Now that is, of course, partially because of the assistance from the teammates, but that's great. I mean, and that's what we're expecting, you know, in these higher skill lobbies is you should definitely be working with your teammates here. Absolutely no air defense though, so I think what we might be seeing here is the death of a player. Live action bombing here. The bombers all swoop in, and here they are. Certainly the fusion reactor goes down, but what else can these bombers get? Some more of them are going to move back this way. They do find some energy converters. That's really nice. practically no air defense here. I mean, there's light anti-air, but that is not going to be enough to stop these really, really heavy bombers. Ooh, yeah, go for that advanced fusion reactor there. Great targeting. Wow, a nuke lands right there as well. Talk about unfortunate timing. The bombers take down the advanced fusion plant for the blue player here. A nuke lands right on top of the mountain for the blue player here. It is a bad day to be blue. Definitely feeling pretty blue, I have to imagine. I was debating whether I should make that one. I figured I might as well go for it. The Shiva army is still looking tremendous, though, and we have tons of Sheldon. The blue player production may be down, but the army is still up and available. I think I like their position still quite a lot here. Purple producing Shiva of their own, being quite a pain to this capital ship that is now completely distracted by the Shiva. A capital ship is like it's actually a damage over time vehicle. It looks really, really imposing because of how many guns it has on it, especially the Epoch. The Black Hydra is a little bit better, but the Epoch is definitely the kind of thing that you have to like park miles and miles away from your enemy's base and just try and get as much value out of it as you possibly can here. Snipers are the answer to this, by the way. In case you're looking at a wall of Shiva like this and you need to figure out what the hell you're going to do in response, the answer is definitely snipers. Now, the hounds are pretty good. They can definitely lay down quite a lot of fire, but it's these missiles that are really going to tear your hounds down, and especially now that there's this huge contingent of Sheldons as well. We do have a second Epoch out now. Wow, that's quite nice. And they actually found the crevice to start shooting through, and indeed they can actually fire on all these Sheldons, softening them up quite a bit. That's very nice. Also being sure to fire on a whole lot of these Shiva that have marched to the front lines, and a whole bunch of these repair vehicles, trying to, or construction vehicles rather, but being used as repair vehicles to patch all of this stuff up. Razorback is out on the field, and wow, look at it just tear through these Sheldons with reckless abandon. Not a care in the world was this Razorback having as it mowed through hundreds and hundreds of innocent lives. You absolutely love to see it. Razorback's in a little bit of trouble here, 6% health, and we do have snipers out on the field. Very, very powerful combo. Oh, that's a nuke. Where is it going? I see it. I caught it at the very last second here. Boom goes the dynamite and strips entire base, short of, yeah, one production facility. Has been completely wiped away from the face of this map. You can see immediately all of the advanced energy, or yeah, the advanced, oh wow, these are actually exploiters. These are the armed metal extractors. But all of the armed extractors and the regular ones are immediately without power here. Yeah, the economy dipping down to 185 power. I don't even know where that's coming from. Probably some windmills or solar or something that I can't see at the moment. But a really, really nice nuke. They managed to find exactly the right soft spot to target there. The push from blue has ended as a lot of those Sheldon have gone down, meaning that for now the blue player is going to have to rebuild their economy all the way from scratch, and the Shiva are all that's left of this push with no more support. I think these Razorbacks are going to definitely be more than enough to mop up all of this aggression. Really, really nicely done. We got the T3 out just in time here. Very nice. Mauser coming in to say that they fought in the war as well. Laying down a little bit of fire. Probably about, I don't know, maybe 4% health off of each of those Shiva every time a Mauser hits it. It's definitely respectable. That's the end of that death push. The Sheldons wiped me. Yeah, those Shiva are tough, but they can definitely be outgunned. There are bigger fish. Pulsar is also being extremely annoying, not allowing any sort of movement through the middle of the map here, just because of how far away these can shoot from, right? See, the effective radius on these is all the way out to these metal extractors. Lovebot might actually be in a little bit of trouble here if they step a little bit too far forward reclaiming. Commander could easily be sniped. The catapults are brought out too, and those are an excellent option for laying down long-ranged death. Yeah, look how dangerous these missiles are. Each of these is like 4 times the power of a Janus missile. Don't quote me on that. I don't actually know how the numbers line up. That's just how they feel. But every time one of these fires, you can see the area they're pointing at is no longer a part of the world. Reduced to a barren wasteland at best. Reduced to a crater at worst. The Razorbacks move forward. They find Lovebot's commander, who is carelessly collecting metal on the front lines here. Commander does cloak in time. Yeah, we're thinking about degunning here. Not really in a great position to do so, though. And these Shiva are nice and softened up by these catapults. It's really, really well done moving those catapults into position there. Yeah, you can see... Oh, there's the snipers firing, too. Yep. The snipers just melt these Shiva away. Absolutely phenomenal. This is quickly becoming one of my favorite compositions. I think I was about to talk about this and I got sidetracked. The Fat Boy Sniper composition is absolutely brutal. We saw that on the Sulphur Springs map, where one of the players had gone for a... Oh, Commander goes down over here. We saw that where one of the players went for this Fat Boy Sniper composition, and it is really, really tough for the Cortex players to deal with. I'll try and think of a counter for you real quick off the top of my head, but yeah, these are really tough. I mean, you could do something like Sumos and Fiends, maybe. But even then, like, the Fiends are going to get mopped up by the AoE from the Fat Boys. The Sumos are going to get shot down by the Snipers. Yeah, you're in a really tough position here. I think you basically have to rely on an air player to paralyze these units or EMP them, you know, stun them. You have to get creative. There's not a direct matchup that I can think of that really hard counters this. Because yeah, that is a dangerous composition. Definitely a late game composition you're looking for. Wow, we can see these armed exploiters are actually really dangerous. They can lay out a tremendous amount of fire, surprising amount of fire, really. Fat Boys are here now, and they're going to start contributing to this front line. Contribute they will. See, every time they shoot is a huge bout of fire. I'd love to see these Mausers using their effective range here. You can see these things can shoot from so far away, but unfortunately they cannot do so without radar vision of some sort. So I'd love to see maybe a plane dedicated to flying over here. That's one way to get vision. Of course, we could also do this, what Yellow's doing here with the tick spam. That's another way. Ah, we've got Shiva up north here. A lot of these are looking a little bit scuffed up, but for the most part, I think a lot of these are actually looking really good. Most of them are looking good. A few of them are scuffed up, most of them are looking good, is what I should have said there. Jumped to that sentence a little prematurely. Yeah, most of these Shiva rather are going to get shut down for the purple player, who's the defending player, meaning that the offense is looking quite nice here. Commander moves forward, going for the self-destruct here. Commander goes down and it blows away that bulwark that they just worked so hard to put up. That really hurts. Shivas are getting lit up though, and it might have been the amount of time they needed in order to stall for this. There's an advanced fusion reactor right in front of him though. Oh, that's so dangerous. Oh, does he got it? I don't think this Shiva's going to be able to do it. And the last missile is launched. I don't think it's going to be able to bring down this advanced fusion reactor. Indeed, taking it down to 50% health, got real close, but didn't manage to push all the way through. Excellent effort, though, from our tan player. And wow, look at that windmill. Oh, that's not a windmill field. That's a minefield. That's a hell of a minefield. Nothing's getting through that anytime soon. Very nicely done, I suppose. Not really a huge metal or energy investment, so I suppose I like to see it. Some Razorbacks are pushing forward, and they might actually catch a Juggernaut amidst production. That can be really expensive if you just lose all of this metal that went into building a Juggernaut. A little more than halfway done, and you can see it costs 29,000 metal to build a Juggernaut. And if 2/3 of that goes down the drain, that's going to be really costly. Even just destroying these here construction turrets can still prove extremely costly, just because this Juggernaut is not going to come up anytime soon. Construction turrets go, and the experimental gantry is not looking so hot. I'd love to see this focus down here. Yep. We're about 50% now. Oh, the Razorback gets hit by the Cerberus, though, and the Sumo manages to take down the Razorback, getting a chevron for its work. I think it's well-deserved here. Juggernaut's 71% of the way done, and it'll definitely pop out eventually here, but it's going to take a little bit longer with those construction turrets out and about. Or out of service, I should say. Nuke comes down, wipes away all of this static defense. Very nicely done, very well-placed Nuke. We do have a... what's called again? The Behemoth. Pushing onto the front lines here. Wow, wiping away those Razorback. Their attack is so deadly. Of course, they move at, you know, a snail's pace, but for what it's worth, they can take as many hits as you can throw at them. So, really, really dangerous frontline aggravator here. See, it just wipes away anything in its way. Brings down a Razorback to 8% health in a single hit. Absolutely brutal. It's mission critical that you split well against these guys, otherwise they are going to tear you apart at the core. It's brought low. 20% health, but will it be enough? Beamer's trying to trying to deal with this thing. 7-6. We need a few more shots from the pulsars. They don't have it though. 3%, 2%. Oh, we need one more shot. 5,000 health left. And the behemoth eventually does go down. Very nice that they were able to actually kill it, because of course that means that you can resurrect it, which is always nice. Nuke comes down. That's interesting. Nuke does land, and that's going to wipe away any of these retreating forces here. Titan also hits the field, and that's going to help push back any of these auxiliary troops. Very nicely done. Now, there's a lot of snipers out. They are a little bit clustered up, though, which I don't like to see. It does mean that a rocket or two are going to do some very critical damage here. Now, what on earth is going on here? We have a construction bot for the red team building advanced metal extractors right next to the blue team. Nerdy Zen stepping back into the water after being ravaged for quite some time. These capital ships are, yeah, they're wrecked and they're down in the water, so we could absolutely see those revived. That'd be nice. Looks like this capital ship is just happy to shell away at these catapults from the dry land, or on the dry land. Suddenly things are stagnating a little bit. Are these fat boys? They are indeed. Very dangerous. Don't want to let those into your base. Cause quite a lot of alarm. Firing on catapults, actually. Wow, do they arrange those? No, it must just be because of the vision, the way the vision works. Yeah. Indeed, those will eventually be brought down. We have a spy bot here to make sure that these aren't pushing forward. Not doing anything they shouldn't. But it does see that we are... we're no longer reviving this. We're actually just going to start eating it up. I think that's probably a good idea. 15,000 metal and a wreckage of one of these things. Oh, we can see the commander with the plasma guns, though, because of this spy bot. We're going for the snipe there. Oh, are we going to get it? Wow, we hit the commander with the long-range plasma cannon. That's crazy. Really, really well done there from Bearded Coder, getting those long-range plasma cannon into such an advantageous position there. Really nicely done. Another plasma shot lands and takes out all those res bots down south. Orange's lines are growing steadily. We do have a bulwark here, as well as two... Oh, no, sorry. It's a Persecutor and a Scorpion. Thought those were two of the same, but they're different. A lot of snipers moving forward here, though. They are clustered, which does mean that they're not going to be using their full efficiency, which is unfortunate to see. Still very dangerous to deal with, though. This army decides to cave, and it will begin pushing forward. Armed Exploiters doing a decent job bringing down a single Razorback, but there's still 4 more on the back of it, ready to continue plunging into the heart of the enemy. This is the entire production, production facility here for Vico. So this is pretty dangerous. This can definitely be a devastating effect. Yeah, indeed, there's nothing back here, not even metal extractors. And Vico does end up going down here. Excellent play by Orange, finding the opening there. Vico a little bit slow to react with the commander, running away at first, but then realizing that it's actually his only chance of taking all this stuff down. And are we going to get it all? Oh, we decide not to. We get most of it. Still 2 Razorbacks. I think we might have been able to get all 4 of them at one point in time there. But anyway, 2 of these Razorbacks are going to continue pushing forward, and this is actually a really, really big pain here. Looks like this player is tapped out of the game. That is pretty unfortunate, this blue player down south. Really, really unfortunate to see. Some bombers coming in from here. They do manage to take out the construction turrets, which is quite nice. Nuke lands in the northern waters up here. Nerdy Zen forced to deal with that, I suppose. Doesn't actually take out too many, or too much, rather. Most of the production structures are already pushed forward here. And we're mostly just resurrecting these capital ships using a bunch of energy. Very nicely done. Razorbacks chewing away at this base without a commander. Nobody decided to take this, which was really unfortunate. I would have loved to see Vico take over this base once the player was gone. They were the closest lane partner, so I definitely think that was their responsibility. Nerdy Zen deciding to take it after all, but I don't think there will be much left for him to have after just a minute here. Do these hardened energy storage? Whoa, wow, those explode pretty huge. And indeed. A lot of that stuff lights up because of that energy storage. Interesting. Did not know that. Nuke was intercepted there, mid-air. Nice little airburst. Ooh, and a Titan has gotten into the back lines here. That is quite nice. Yo, man, you can see that whole cataclysm of events right there. Titan self-destructs as well, and the friendly catapults fire on their own base. Oh, they almost bring down the fusion reactors. Jeez. Oh man! Remember, keep your catapults away from your base. Do not keep them anywhere near. But wow, look at that rocket storm. That was one volley of rockets, and it brought that Titan down to 31%. Really, really nicely done there. The Titan is going to self-destruct in order to deny the wreckage to that team. Very nicely done here. Indeed, that player, the purple player there, decides to actually tap out and just hand over all the units to Nerdy Zen, who now has most of this entire production facility for the blue team. And I think we are looking at the end of a game here. Orange's Razorbacks are continuing to push forward. Orange's Razorbacks. For some reason, that sounds like a heavy metal band, doesn't it? The Razorbacks continuing to sweep up north. They do find an advanced fusion reactor here. Blow it all the way to smithereens. And they're going to find the second one in no time at all. The scouting wave has been sent forward, and they're going to find all of Nerdy Zen's new base. New and improved. And indeed, the blue team decides at that point to tap out once they've been completely scouted, been revealed for all of red to see. And that was an excellent game. Very, very nice. Really, really love to see this map. Thank you very much to the viewer, the kind viewer who submitted this, and I hope you have a phenomenal rest of your day.